Hi, everyone. This is Carolyn and Janice with Stamp with Janice and Carolyn, episode 9. We're almost at double digits, Janice.
Yay!
Yay. I am Carolyn with Stamping Cards, and I am a Canadian independent demonstrator. Janice is a Canadian independent demonstrator as well, and we're on the same team. So we like to stamp together and share those stamping videos with you, sharing all the tips and tricks that we have learned along the way. So anything to add, Janice?
Nope. Excited to be back. It's been a couple of weeks and it's nice to do this again.
Yeah, you had some visitors visiting, family visiting, and
I did,
my
yeah.
kids had spring break, so we were away. So yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Oh,
Yeah.
but anyway, so fun to get back together and stamp. All right, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight. So we'll get going. I want to replace pin or I want to spotlight. Spotlight for everyone. That's it. Every time we're away, like you think, oh, are we doing it right?
I know every time we come back.
Yeah, we're learning. We're still learning. We're not Zoom experts, but okay. So everyone should be seeing my desk now. Can you see it, Janice?
I can, yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is an exciting time of year. We are at the end of our current catalog and a few weeks left with it, and then our new catalog will be coming in. So kind of always this time of year makes me a little nostalgic for things that I really love in the current catalog. So I am going to be using painted poppies today. I checked our website. So I went to www.stamping.ca and I checked our last chance products because a lot of the items from our current catalog are deeply discounted. Some are up to 60% off, some less, some not. But my painted poppies set, I think the stamp set is sold out. I couldn't find that on there today, but most of my card is using the Poppy Moments dies today anyway. And they are available and they are on sale. And the cost or price of those right now are $20.80 or 40 cents. I can't remember. I think it's
That's a great.
$20.80. So great deal. And these are builder dies. So you can buy these and use them without having or owning the Painted Poppies stamp set easily. And then my sentiment for my card today comes from Happiness Abounds. Now, I think this one is continuing to the next catalog, but it's not in the bundle. I'm not sure that is retiring, but I'm using a happy birthday anyway. So if you don't have this stamp set, you just need a happy birthday. So I'll put that to the side. For our project today, we sometimes like to coordinate. Janice and I have decided to do the Global Design Project. 389. And if you want to look online for other projects with the Global Design Project, you put in the hashtag. Old people like me know that as a number sign, and then followed directly by GDP 389. And that makes that searchable. It's like a link that if you put in Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram, or even in your Google search, that will come up with all the projects people have been putting online with the Global Design Project outline. And this week was a simple project outline. It was just to focus on, excuse me, and use these 3 stamp colors. They didn't even say use the ink, but use these colors: Tahitian Tide, Daffodil Delight, and Pumpkin Pie. And all of these are continuing on into our next catalog as well. You've probably heard we're having a bit of a color refresh. How do you feel about that, Janice?
I'm gonna miss Bermuda Bay.
Oh yes, I know. I used Bermuda Bay today because I was a little
Yeah.
nostalgic for that. Not on this card, but on another. I should have taped this down. I'm going to tip this back a little bit and put that down so I'm not always moving this sheet. So this is my card that I use Tahitian Tide and Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight on. And I'm going to get started. I did all my die cutting previously. Few other things that I use today. I'm going to put the, remember, Poppy Moments are on sale. Let me look, $20.40. So it wasn't $20.80. So anybody needs that, you should go online and buy those. I also used the distressed gold paper. as well as one of my other favorite products, which are the adhesive sheets. And what I did was I put a few pieces or a couple pieces of the adhesive on the back so it makes it sticky, so that when you die cut it, you've already created a sticker, so you don't need glue or other adhesives. And that's important because my other die sets that I use today, which are also retiring, the layering circles, I use those to make a whole bunch of circles to go on my card. These are not on sale, sadly. So for $48 for those, but I think just because they're such a staple, everybody needs circles. So basically I took a piece of the distressed gold paper, cut it down, and oh, that's still available as well. I think this is retiring. And then took a piece of the adhesive sheets, peeled one side of the adhesive sheets off, stuck it to the back of this piece, and then I cut out all my circles. So you're making a sticker. Let me know if that's not clear to anybody. You can always just ask online, send us notes, let us know in the links if you have any questions. We'll always check our comments and answer them for you. Okay, so global design project, what did I need? I needed some basic white cardstock, and I used the base. So the base is 11 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2, and I'm going to use it with the fold to the left hand side. So it's going to open, yeah, open like that. And then my main piece that I'm going to decorate is, make sure I got the right measurements, 5 1/8 and 3 7/8. And then the Tahitian Tide is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So it gives you a little bit of a like 1/16 peekaboo color edge just around the edge, but it helps it pop a little bit. Also our medium white envelopes. I'm going to decorate one of those. I did the die cutting for you already, but I'll pull back in my dies, show you what you'll need. So for pumpkin pie, we're going to do the outline of the flowers, the big poppy and the small poppy. You're going to need one each of those. And then for our, that was pumpkin pie. Then for Daffodil Delight, we're going to have the full shape of the big flower, that one, and then the small one as well, which is this one here. And then to decorate the center of those, oh, you need some basic blacks, but just little pieces that you have lying around. And there are 3 centers, and you can just go ahead and cut a whole bunch of those because I layered them up to make it look a little fuller instead of just using one. So lots of those. So I did all that die cutting in advance. So let me pull all of those out. And then you're going to need a little piece, like an offcut of your Tahitian Tide for your sentiment as well. So then you're probably wondering why I used the distressed gold and the labels. I used it as the background. So I used the first 5. So I go back and forth between my 2 sets here. So that was 3, that's 4, and that's 5. So I used the first 5, starting from the smallest, working out, and I layered them together. Now, a couple of my sets, like these 2, they layer perfectly together. So I can run them through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine together and get one circle, and those would layer really nicely as well. And then this one didn't go in quite as nicely, so I just pulled it, I did it separately. And what I got then was a whole bunch of these extra little just circles that are in the distressed gold, and I'm going to lay them on the background so that they look kind of like an interlocking circle. And I did this card last night, and I woke up this morning and on the Stampin' Up main page, this lady had shown how to do interlocking circles. And I was like, I was totally on that vibe or wavelength. I was like, what a weird coincidence. But it was a coincidence. So here's my little black pieces, the centers of the poppies. And I've got some extra cutout as well because I'm going to decorate these a little bit just so they're not as starkly How's that color? Daffodil Delight. All right, so I've, everything on here I've told you about, so I'll move that over to the side so we have somewhere to work with. The thing in our mini catalog that I love right now are these small blending brushes, and I don't know if I've shown them side by side with our big ones. These are in our annual catalog, and they're quite a bit bigger than the smaller ones. So these are great for little detail projects, and that's what I'm going to use them for today. So I'm going to use I think I pulled in the pumpkin pie, and I put a little bit of pumpkin pie in the center of the two flowers. So I just want to make sure I'm doing the right side. So I'm going to make sure that's how they layer. So I'm just going to hold it off to the side like that. And I think that one's pretty straightforward like that. Pull in my pumpkin pie. And what I'm doing is just kind of working around the center point and putting in a little bit of that pumpkin pie color, just to give a little bit of depth on the background. It just pops it, gives it more depth, I think. I don't know. And here I'm just looking to see how far I need to go. So not quite to the edge, but most of that middle is covered up as well. So I can just kind of go in that ovally shape there. Yeah, that's good. So not a lot, but just a little bit really helps to pop it up. So that's going to be like that. And then this one's going to be on here. And put those to the side. And I'm going to do my ink blending first. I didn't show you my card, did I? I don't know if I did. And I'm going to pull in the big blending brush. And I'm going to use the Tahitian Tide. And all you want to do is rub that brush over the top and pick up ink. You can check to see how inky it is. Sometimes the first dab down is too strong. You don't want that on your project. So sometimes I just give a little circle off on a scrap paper or your background. And then I'm going to do this a few times, and I'll do it fast. I'll try to do it fast. So I want it nice and bright, that Tahitian Tide background. A lot of it's going to be covered up, of course, with your flowers on there. Oh, and make sure you don't get on your fingers like I just did. I'm going to have to use my magic eraser. Do you have one of those sand erasers, Janice?
I do, yes.
I know I'm going to have to use that on the edge, unless it gets covered up by my circles, but I'll see. See if it does. Okay, so I'll leave it like that for now. And then I'm going to pull in all those circles that I cut with my layering dies and see what looks nice. I like a couple of the smaller ones for sure. And if you're wondering why they popped up, I started the backing, peeling the backing off, because I was like, can't do that on camera. That will look horrible. So let's do this. And I don't need a lot in the middle because my big flower is going in there anyway. So maybe one there, and a smaller one here, and then one there. So I'm going to do something like that. Just have an idea of where you're going to put them before you start peeling the back off and sticking them down. Because once they get stuck down, you don't really have an opportunity to move them very much. But they really, the adhesive sheets, they really do work great. So that's the back that I'm peeling off the sticker piece. I'll put that one there. Stay away from the edge. Peel this one off. And that one's going to be over here somewhere. And I like that they kind of overlap and you see the little gaps between them. I'm going to wait for that one. The small one on first. how that looks. It's popping up a little bit just because I haven't pushed down or really burnished it on there very well. Also, sometimes if your ink is still a bit wet, it might not adhere initially perfectly. I'm going to pop that somewhere safe over there and pull in some Tombow glue. I didn't adhere the sides of these. I just did the centers. I didn't mind that they popped up a little bit. I think that just adds depth and interest. So there's that one. Make sure this is, I don't want to glue the wrong side. So I'll put that on there. Just realized I didn't close my craft room door. Get that on there. So I'm going to hold that for a second because that ink was still a little bit wet, I think. So it wasn't wanting to stick right away. And before I put my Tombow away, with these, I round them up a little bit. And then I'm going to layer 2 or 3 onto the center. And I'm just going to push them up a little bit on the edges so it has some dimension. This time I'm going to turn it this way, so I'm covering up the little smile in the middle. And then this one I used a couple of the small ones. Maybe I don't have enough of the small ones. Maybe I'll fold this one in half to give it some extra depth. I got stuck together. A little glue. Shake it down. There we go. It's probably too much. Squeeze it together, and then I'm going to put another little bit on top so I can put this one on, and I'll hold them together before I put them down here. So I like layering these instead of just using one. I think it looks a little more interesting. I don't know. It looks fine with just one as well, but that's a little plainer than this. So it's up to you, whatever your heart desires, whatever you like is the way to do it because it's going to be your card anyway. So do what you like, right? So I'm going to glue the white piece onto that Tahitian Tide while I've got my glue out. And then I'm going to glue it directly to the card base. Just a little bit of that Tombow adhesive glue. One thing to note about our Tombow adhesive glue right now is in Canadian dollars is $5.50, I believe, per container or each, in other words. And with our new catalog, we do have some price increases coming, sadly, but it's true. I think it's just a global increase overall. And these Tombow glues are actually going up $2. So I think they're going up to $7.50. They might be $5 and they might be going up to $7. Do you remember, Janice?
Yeah, you're right. The first, it's $5.50 going up to $7.50.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So they're going up $2. So if you want to save yourself a little bit of money,
yeah,
order some of those before
absolutely.
our
Stock
next catalogs. Yeah, before the next catalog starts. And that starts, is it May the 2nd?
May, I can't remember, is it 2nd or 4th? Yeah, I'm trying to think too.
It's usually that first Tuesday of a week, but I haven't looked at the dates, to be honest. It's been a madhouse around here lately. I haven't kept up. So if you have any questions, again, send it to us and we will answer them. So then I use some Tombow glue to go ahead and glue that one directly onto the card base. And then the smaller flower, I'm actually putting a couple dimensionals on there. So I wanted to pop that up a little bit. And I'm going to put that kind of here off to the side. And then it's time for my sentiment, which is going to be on the Tahitian Tide. And of course, I've got to use my embossing buddy and my white embossing powder and my Versamark ink and find my stamp. So I just used a very simple happy birthday stamp, which was from the Happiness Abounds, I believe. That's what it's called, that stamp set. And ink up your stamp with your Versamark clear ink. It's sticky. It's going to help your embossing powder stick and give you a great sentiment once it's all embossed. So you just get stamped straight down, straight up. Pulling out my embossing powder. I just shake it on, and I just keep my embossing powders in this big container for convenience because I use them all the time. All the time. If not every day. Okay, so then the last thing you need to do heat embossing, which is the magical thing for stamping that got me hooked on stamping for sure, is our heat tool or heat gun. And those are available from Stampin' Up. And if I'm not wrong, I think they might be going up in price too. I can't remember.
They are, yeah. I think
Yeah.
going up $2 or $3.
So hold it up, and the powder is matte, and you can see that it's kind of it is powdery. You can see the little individual grains, and as it gets heated, it melts and gets shiny and glossy. You can do it from the back and the front, so your paper won't warp. But you have to make sure you do it long enough to get that shiny glossiness happening, because if you leave it looking powdery, the Versamark ink will dry and your powder will eventually flake off. So you have to make sure that you get all the little bits. I'm looking at the tea. All the little bits melted. So then there you go, and you get a really nice bright white happy birthday. I'm just going to slice that off. In fact, I have another one that I already did. So I'll pull that in. And I just really sliced it down narrowly, so it just barely fits in there. I don't know how big that was, but, and then I'm going to use some dimensionals. I might have to cut these down because it's so narrow. I'll pop a couple on. Maybe just one more. It might be too long. I might have to cut down the end. And the end, I just flagged kind of just one end, and not even really flagged it, just sliced it so it's on an angle. Flagging, as we say, when we have like a double point at the end of the sentence or the sentiment piece, and there's only one here, so not really flagging. So then I'm going to tuck it underneath the two, maybe just the one. There. I got to make sure it's going on straight, so you might lean in a little bit too much. But before you press it down, if you just give it a little look, there we go. That looks better. So then I did use my poppy stamps on the inside. Just really quickly, I mounted them so I have the flower side and the little art blob, call it. And I'm going to use daffodil ink for the art blob. And I need to update my daffodil ink at some point because it's still a cloth covered one. So I've had those and probably 20 years. But I have the ink refill, and so I can re-ink it anytime I want. So it never runs dry. So whenever you buy a stamp pad from Stampin' Up, that's our best advice, is to go ahead and buy your refill at the same time so your ink pad will never get dry. So that's going to be on the inside. It's the front of my card. And I'm going to do the envelope really quickly as well while I have the Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight out. Stamp with Pumpkin Pie on the corner of your envelope, and then use the Daffodil Delight and your little brush to just color it in, or you could use the stamp as well. I'm just going to color it in, just do the corner piece. That's really cute and fun. And then that is my card for today, using the Poppy Moments dies, which I really love. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see I've used those Poppy dies for Remembrance Day cards, as well as some scrapbook pages with my kids because they're military babies. And we had a photo shoot in a poppy field done one time, and I did scrapbook pages for them with that. And remember to look up the Global Design Project. So hashtag GDP389. All right, so that's my project. I was really happy with that. Oh, I did on my project put those loose, what are they called? They were one of the online exclusives, but they're sold out. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I had a pack of those too. I haven't used them yet.
Yeah, so I put that on my initial card.
Dots, I think it's called.
Yeah, loose frosted something. And so I put a whole bunch on there, and I thought, well, I can't use those because you can't get them right now, but you can still get the glossy dots assortment. I checked today, and you can put some of those yellow ones on there. So I'll go ahead and put some of those. You can even use a lighter blue too. That would be cute with the Tahitian. Tahitian Tide. That is one of my favorite colors. So I'll just put 3 on for now. So you can get ready and do your card next. So I hope you like that. I hope you like the distressed gold locks or interlocking circles. It's just something different to do with some of the paper that you have in your stash.
So pretty.
Oh, thank you.
I love it.
That was a fun one. But I love those builder dies. I'm a big sucker for anything that builds a flower. All right, so I will go ahead and switch out our spotlight, and you can have the stage.
Fine. Okay, so I'm doing flowers too. This is it was in the spring catalog. It is carrying over into the new catalog, Two-Tone Flora. And this is the card I made.
That's beautiful.
Now, I wasn't sold on the brown after I did it. So I'm going to try white this time and see if I like it better. And you can tell me which one you like better. I did use a little strip of designer paper in the Tahitian Tide on the inside here too, and just a little flower inside.
Oh, that's cute.
So I stamped and die cut a bunch of these. I went a little bit overboard with the sequins. And I did a few blue ones too, because I thought it looked nice with the Tahitian Tide. So this die, that's right. This die is actually retiring, and I had ordered it and not used it, of course. So I thought I have to use it before it retires. So it's the split card textures. And it's this one. And I was kind of going for a lattice look, and I thought the blue could be the sky in the background. So let's see how it works with the white. And I've got my measurements here. So I used basic white thick cardstock. I'm going to use this time. So in this sample, it was actually early espresso, 5.5 by 8.5, and then scored in the center at 4.25. And then I used, in this one, I used a brown espresso layer. So for my sample, instead of cutting the edge, I went right to the edge this time. So this piece is 5.25 by 4. And then I put a little, I decided to go all the way around with the Tahitian Tide instead of just having it behind. And it was 4.125 by 5.375. So that'll layer on like this and have a little bit of a border. Carolyn, I didn't realize your card was doing that too. Sorry, it's gonna make them look similar. So this is the piece I started with. I've die cut it already for you, but just it's the 4 by 5.25, and then you just take the dies the die. And I put it up in the corner like this and just kind of made an even border around the edge and die cut it out. And this is what you end up with. It's really cute. I'm sad these are retiring because
Me too.
seen lots of beautiful cards made with them and been wanting to try some out. And you know how it is. You don't get to everything you want to do sometimes.
That's true.
So before I layer this all together, I'm going to stamp a couple more. I've pre-cut a bunch of the flowers, but I'm going to stamp them just to show you the two-step process, because this is a two-step. This flora is a two-step, and they have, so like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sets of flowers that you can layer. And then this set of leaves, and it's really, I love the way it looks with the layering. I used it in a class recently, and we used just the outline, and by mistake I put the outline on the envelope and not the background shading piece, and the ladies were like, oh, I like it with just the outline too.
Yeah.
So they're actually quite easy to line up too, and I'll show you when I stamp why I say that. And they're photopolymer, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat underneath. I've got my Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to ink it up. So this is going to be the background piece, and I'm going to just stamp it here. And you see this little, I call it like a half moon, and that's what I line up. So each of the flowers has a little something in the middle that helps you line up the layering piece. And I like doing the background first. And then I've got yeah. So you can see right here, that little half moon again is in the center. So I'm going to line that up. And stamp in the pumpkin pie. And then you get the really pretty two-tone look. So I've done a bunch this color, and then I also did some with the background in pumpkin pie, and then I put the outline part in Cajun Craze. So that is, let me just show you the two that I did like that, like this. So this is the pumpkin pie in Cajun Craze, and this is Daffodil Delight with the pumpkin pie. So I thought they were both really, I love the way the colors layer together. It's so nice. And then that outline, let me just see if I stamp it here. And it's a little light to see, but it kind of looked really cute on the envelope. Just you could still tell it was a flower, but it wasn't intentional. All right, so I'll take our card base, and first thing I'm going to do is layer this white piece onto my Tahitian Tide. So I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue, and I have stocked up, Carolyn. I might even order more before.
I know, $2 is a big savings.
$2 is quite a bit. So I've ordered some and I told my customers as well that this is what you use. Now's the time to get it. So
yeah,
do the outline. Sorry, my paper's gone a little bit crooked here.
that's all right.
So I didn't bother putting any glue on this piece because I don't mind. The outside is going to be glued down anyway. So I don't mind that piece is not glued down because it's not going anywhere. There we go. Try to make an even border. One thing I just thought about, I was going to put my sentiment I heat embossed on the brown in gold. I'm going to use a different sentiment this time. I wanted to use from the Charming Sentiments, and I'm going to use the Thank You, but I was still going to heat emboss it, and I was going to do it before I attached it. So let's see if I can do it without messing it up since it's already been attached. So I've got my embossing tools here. I'm going to use my embossing buddy, put it in the corner. There we go. And then my Versamark ink. Here we go. And then I don't have mine in a container like Carolyn. So I'm just going to use the tray and the gold ink, or the gold embossing powder.
You're doing it the right way.
And I missed a little bit on the top there. So let's go over it again. Looks good. I have my brush here too. I'm going to do just a little bit up above that I can see, and I know once it embosses, it's really going to bother me that that's there. So flick those pieces off.
Brush is great for that.
It is, yeah. This brush is a little thick. I think I'll get a little paintbrush to go with it too for the same. And there's a little tiny piece. Use the tip of this. Okay, and I don't know what my microphone's going to be like, Carolyn, for the heat tool. So let's see. Hopefully it's not too loud. You still hear okay?
Yeah, it actually can't hear anything. Can't hear
Oh,
your heat gun at all. I know. I think the Zoom has gotten really good with like canceling background noise or something.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So this, oh, here we go. I was going to say we should really see it start to pop when it starts melting. So you can see the U. You can probably not see it as well on your camera. There we go. Okay, that worked okay. You can see the shine now it has. Carolyn was talking about not leaving any powder, and that's very, I had a customer in class do it, and she's like, is this done right? And I touched it with my fingers and the powder came off, and no, it's not quite.
Oh.
But luckily, we could just put more powder on it and so. All right, so I managed to do that without a disaster. And these, I love these little clips too that came with that set, these little tweezers. But because this was such a big piece, I didn't really need them. But for little sentiments, it really helps not to burn your fingers. Okay, make sure we're hoping the right way. And then I'm going to put some more Tombow on the back of this. That's dries really quick, I find. It's I don't think I've ever had one smudge up. Go. Okay. So now I'll get a bunch. Sorry?
I said it's so pretty already.
I'm going to get a bunch of these flowers and decide. I mixed in a couple of the brighter pumpkin pie ones, and I have two of the larger. So I think I'll space those out a little bit like this. And then put a couple in between.
And there's the die set with that as well, right? You didn't cut them by hand, did
There,
you?
yep, there is die. No,
Okay.
there's this die.
Yeah.
It's all the pieces. And then it also has a layering die. One of these background that covers the whole card.
Yeah,
Really
that
pretty.
one.
Yeah. So I haven't used that one yet. I'm going to try that one soon on a card and see. I'll put there and there. So I'm going to glue the larger ones on, and then I think I'm going to pop the other ones up just to give it a little bit extra dimension. So bring back my Tombow glue. This one. And we'll use some dimensionals. I'm at the end of my dimensionals, so I've not the end, just the end of one pack.
Yeah.
But I'm using up the edges, so I've cut them. Those of you don't, you can see I did little slits all around the edges. So don't waste them just because you don't have the dimensionals that are gone, and you think, oh, that's it now. You can still get lots out of those edges. And it's also good if you have a long piece, a long sentiment strip. You can use these to go behind a sentiment strip too. Works really good. Excuse me. All right. Tuck that one in here. Well, let's see, what do we want on the ends? All right. Don't think I'm going to go as overboard this time on the sequins. I like the little blue ones that are around, though. I think that highlights it a little bit.
That was
But
pretty.
then, yeah, and I like the gold too, because the golds, I thought it went nicely with the embossing. So. Sequins I have, and this is the pastel adhesive back sequins, and I think these are staying. I'm not positive, but you get 2 sheets. You get 1 sheet of, and I've cut my sheets in half because I was using them in a class, but you get 1 sheet of large ones and then 1 sheet of small ones. Okay. So you can mix and match the large and small sequins. And I think I am going to go with the blue because it just pops a little bit better on the big one there. And a small one here. And another small one over here. There we go. And I think I'm going to put my little flowers inside again. I didn't stamp a sentiment inside, and I often don't on my cards until I use them, because sometimes you can use if the front says you're the best, you can use it for birthday or thank you, or you can put many different things inside. So it leaves it a little more flexible, I think.
That's true.
There we go. And that's it. So let me put the brown one next to it and see.
So pretty. They have such a different feel, don't they?
They do, yeah, with the colors. I mean, you could do more sequins along here too, like I did on this one. I just put it in the middle of every flower, essentially. Yeah.
I love it. I love them both. I don't know which one I like better, because the brown, like the early espresso with the Tahitian Tide, that's like a classic combination. That always works.
It is. Yeah, it is. It really. Yeah.
But the white one is really nice and bright as well. I like them both.
Yeah. I should have put some more orange ones. Pumpkin pie in here. Mix them in. I might cut a few more little ones and stick in among.
So pretty.
Yeah, I never would have thought of putting all those colors together, but they do blend nicely.
They do. They're really great. All right, everyone, you're going to have to let us know which ones you like. Of course, you're going to like them all.
That's right.
Janice and I side by side. Hopefully it'll record side by side. We're still, I don't know, Zoom. Tell me, somebody out there, tell me how to do that. I don't know how. Haven't discovered the correct setting for doing that yet at all. But this was episode 9 of Stamp with Janice and Carolyn. So thanks for joining us, and I hope you come back next time. I think we're planning to maybe get together next week, Janice.
Definitely, yeah.
We'll be in double digits. Number 10 next week. All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. Like and subscribe, and
thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Put your comments below and let us know what you want to see next. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Janice.
Bye, Carolyn.